Morning, brethren. Welcome to another daily devotional. This morning I'm going to be thinking about what Paul has to say in Ephesians chapter 6 and verse 12. There he tells us that our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world, and against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. Paul speaks here about our struggle. He's depicting the Christian life as something that is not easy. In fact, the picture that he has in mind here is that of a soldier going into battle, armed combat, fighting against an enemy. And of course, that would have been very familiar to his readers in the 1st century AD with the Roman soldiers going about, and often people would have seen Romans fighting and engaging in battle. And this is the analogy that Paul uses, and he says that as Christians we are in a battle. And the battle that we're fighting isn't so much against flesh and blood, although oftentimes it is revealed in flesh and blood people. But Paul is saying that behind that there are spiritual forces at work. So, for example, whenever we oppose certain laws that are in our country, say for example we take a stand against abortion, there are those human beings in positions of authority who pass laws allowing abortion, or who pass laws legalizing same-sex marriage, or who pass laws that legalize what the Bible calls sin. Our battle is not so much with those people, although in one sense it is those with whom we have to engage when we write to them, when we petition them, whenever it comes to voting and so on. But what Paul is doing here is he's lifting back the veil between the world that we can see and the world that we live in and the world that we can touch and what goes on all around us. And he's lifting back the veil in order for us to see that behind all of what is happening on earth, there is actually a spiritual battle going on. That the devil and those who serve him and those whom he represents, they are seeking to influence people who are still under the power of Satan in order that they would bring about laws in society that are unjust, that are immoral, that are unrighteous, thereby creating a society that is becoming more and more godless, and as such, on the human level, making it more and more difficult for Christians to live in. Thus, we have a struggle, we have a battle. People are against us because they're against the principles for which we stand. And so there's this ongoing battle that Christians have to face. Our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world, and against the spiritual forces of evil in heavenly places. So brethren, let us remember this, that every day there are spiritual forces in the world at work seeking to hinder God's kingdom and hinder its advancement. Those spiritual forces do not want us as Christians to succeed in anything that we do. They do not want us to get victory over temptation and sin. They do not want us to have a good testimony in our community. They want us to fail. And this is the battle that we are fighting each day. Keep that in mind. Tomorrow, we're going to see how we can best equip ourselves to fight in this battle. In the meantime, remember, your battle is not merely with people. It is with the rulers and authorities and the powers of this dark world and the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. Is it any wonder that the Christian life is difficult at times? Every blessing today.